On the silver highlands of the north stood an ancient kingdom called Erathia. Its winters lasted half a year, frost sheathed the walls, and the palace fires burned day and night so the soldiers would not freeze. When the old king died, his daughter Queen Catherine ascended the throne, a woman of iron will who inherited her father's sword and her mother's crown, yet had not yet learned how to rule hearts. At her coronation, she swore to reunite the fractured northern lands, to bring every rebellious duchy back under the banner of the crown. Her decrees were swift and harsh. Hesitant nobles were punished, disloyal knights executed. Even the council of elder lords was dismissed as weakness. That year, her banners covered the snowfields. The kingdom looked strong, yet rot had begun within. Supplies were strained, resentment grew, and the circle of mages quietly withdrew their allegiance. The next winter, rebellion came. 3 northern dukes rose together and seized the kingdom's lifelines, its wells of magic, and its granaries. Catherine, furious, gathered her knights to crush them. But on the eve of war, her teacher, the old mage Ansel of the White Tower, barred her way. "Your Majesty," he said, "to fight is easy, to make peace is hard. Tell me this, if the fault lies with us, will you change?" "A king cannot change," she answered coldly. "A king commands." "If a king were never wrong," said Ansel, "why would she need a crown?" The words struck like frost through steel. Catherine was silent for a long time, then gave her first order to halt the march. Disguised in plain clothes, she left the palace by night and rode north. There she saw frozen children by the gates, villages bled by taxes, fields burned for lack of protection. Only then did she understand. Rebellion was not born of greed, but of despair. Her rule had been strong in law, weak in mercy. 3 days later, she recalled her army and sent envoys to the rebel dukes, offering to restore the old councils and share the lands anew. The court panicked. "Majesty, this is weakness," they cried. Catherine replied, "No, this is repentance." That spring, the snows melted earlier than any could remember. The dukes returned their fealty, the mages reopened their gates. Standing before the White Tower, the Queen proclaimed to her people, "I once ruled through might. Now I shall rule through amendment. All men err. To correct one's error is the greatest good. Even a queen must do so." Erathia was reborn. In the chronicles, she would be known as the Penitent Queen, and her words carved upon the palace pillars. To err is human. To correct is divine. But this story had already been written 2,000 years earlier in another land. Duke Ling of Jin was corrupt and depraved, funding his extravagant lifestyle through heavy taxation. He amused himself by standing atop a high terrace and shooting passers-by with a slingshot, laughing as they scrambled in fear. Once, because a bear paw had not been fully cooked, he even executed his own chef. Seeing his ruler's cruelty, the minister Shiji could no longer remain silent. He submitted 3 petitions of remonstrance before Duke Ling finally agreed to receive him. Knowing Shiji had come to admonish him, the Duke said, "I know I have done wrong, and I intend to correct myself." Shiji bowed deeply and replied, "Who among us is without fault? But to recognize one's mistakes and correct them, nothing is greater than this." Sadly, Duke Ling did not keep his word. His cruelty continued unabated, and in the end, he was assassinated by his own retainers. From that day, the saying endured, "To err is human, to correct is the highest virtue." Power may command obedience, but only humility restores harmony. Just as Queen Catherine learned in her snowbound palace, to rule by the sword conquers lands, but to rule by repentance conquers hearts. The greatest virtue was never in being flawless, but in having the courage to say, "I was wrong,"